For a few years now, I thought that I was heading in the direction of financial independence and I was doing all the right things. I was saving, I was investing, and I was watching my key numbers and aiming to keep my spending to a specific target within that target. However, I just recently updated my financial independence timeline, and it looks like instead of getting closer, our financial independence date is actually moving farther away. And that's really frustrating. So I figured out the main reason for this is that we live in a high cost of living area. It's just the reality of our situation right now. So here is what I'm doing to accept that reality and then adjust to living within it while not losing hope completely, and also aiming to make our day-to-day life as a family as enjoyable and fun as possible. I used to think that my biggest problem was my income and I just wasn't making enough. But now that we have a little bit more money coming into the house, I see that income is only one part of the total financial picture. It's an important part, but it's not the only part. And that is something that I'm realizing after looking at our numbers, because it is always possible to outspend your income. And after closely looking at our expenses and being very strategic and almost ruthless about what we can cut, I've just determined that financial independence for us is going to look very different, and our timeline is going to be a little bit longer than I had originally anticipated, and that's okay. So if you watched any other of my financial independence videos, you know that this is not a new thing for me. My housing costs have always been very high because this is just a high cost of living area. We live in the Northeast and we're in New York City, and it's always been expensive. So one of the questions I get very logically is, why don't you move? Why don't you move somewhere else? And I know people that have done that to achieve their financial independence timelines. And that's something that we as a family have certainly talked about as well. But that's not something at this point that's realistic for us. So why not? Why wouldn't we consider moving? The pros would be cheaper cost of living. Everything is cheaper, and that's probably the biggest pro, and a shorter timeline to financial independence. The cons to moving somewhere cheaper, or rather the pros to living here, just fully outweigh the pros of living really anywhere else that would be cheaper. So I am personally focusing in on why I love where I live, and the reasons why we stay here are many and very important. So the number one reason is probably family proximity. We are within 2 to 3 hours driving distance from all of our sort of immediate extended family. And that's important to us. It would not be worthwhile to move further away just to save a couple dollars. It's just not something that we're planning to do right now. The second reason is just career options. And I know, going back to the income piece, why income isn't the most important piece of the financial independence puzzle. The career opportunities here in this area are just 10 times better than they would be anywhere else. Just doesn't even really compare. And the third thing that I'm really learning to embrace is all the opportunities that are around us here in the city. It's a walkable environment. And for me, as someone that doesn't really get out a lot, or doesn't like naturally get out a lot, having everything accessible and walkable is very, very wonderful. And it encourages me to get out and interact with people in a way that I wouldn't ordinarily seek out doing. So that's where we are with our income and why we're staying in this area, at least for the time being. So now that our timeline to financial independence has been extended, what am I doing in the meantime? What is my plan? What's my strategy? How am I going to deal with it? Because there are sort of a couple ways to go with that. And I've seen when your timeline to any goal gets longer, it's so easy to get discouraged. And I think that was my first reaction, was to be discouraged that we weren't going to be able to achieve this independence in a timeline that I had wanted originally. So I want to recognize that and tell myself, okay, still the things that I'm doing and watching my numbers, investing, and being diligent about saving are things that will ultimately serve us in the long run. But here's how we're adjusting. And the first thing is I am continuing to watch my numbers, making small adjustments that will make our quality of life so much better. For example, groceries. I feel like groceries is a huge topic because that is the biggest expense we have next to our housing. So it's easy to get out of control. It is very easy to spend like $2,000 to $3,000 on groceries, like super easy. Maybe not 3,000, but it is easy to spend a lot of money on groceries or food or like takeout or anything that you eat. So rather than being ultra super strict with my grocery budget and being like $500 for groceries and no eating out, I've kind of eased up a little bit. So right now our grocery budget is around $800 and our budget for eating out, takeout is about $200. And that's a level that is comfortable for us, more or less. There's a little bit of wiggle room if we're off by maybe 5-10% at the end of the month. That's fine, but I aim to keep to those numbers. So adjusting slightly to make my day-to-day life a little bit more pleasant is something that we're doing. And the second thing I'm doing that's really important is making use of all of the benefits that come with living in this area. And there are many, and I do not take advantage of them as often as I would like to. So for example, there are so many free concerts and free opportunities. And probably the biggest benefit of living in this area is where previously we were spending almost $2,000 a month on childcare. My daughter is now eligible for free 3K, and that has given us a significant amount of margin in our budget, probably the biggest benefit to living in this area. And through her school, there are tons of events that we get notified about. For example, there was a free concert, orchestra concert, and they were doing Rachmaninoff, which we, as a family, we really enjoy. So that was an amazing outing that cost us $0. I like to say it's already included in our housing costs. So taking advantage of the things that are included in our housing costs has been a big push for me lately. I also like to just get out more whenever we can with the weather. It's drizzly and overcast right now, but there are tons of things to do for free. There are museums everywhere with pay as you go, pay what you like, which we do very often. And I am proud to pay my $5 to the American Museum of Natural History for the three of us to get in. I hand them my $5 bill and tell them my zip code with pride. So that is the second thing that I'm doing. And the third thing that I'm doing to kind of work with this on a systemic level is joining more civic organizations to be involved in affordability practices. So I know this is a big buzzword, and especially now the whole affordability crisis. And I understand that there are people that are much less good situations than we are, but I still like to be active and to advocate for policies that will benefit us financially. So for example, the city's thinking about doing away with free parking as a way to subsidize other policies. And that's something that would affect us. So being involved in organizations that would advocate for things that work out for us is something that I'm trying to do. Whereas also being mindful that by choosing to live in the city, we're choosing to take part in everything that happens, good, bad, and ugly, because there are people from all financial walks of life that live here. And I think that's sort of the beauty of that, is the diversity everywhere in culture, background, economics, opportunities, exposure. There's so much here, and I am so thankful to be able to live here. And the more I look into it, the more I'm like, living here is great, and I wouldn't change that for the world, even if that means our timeline to financial independence has been extended by a couple years. I feel like the joy we get from the years we spend here is totally worth the trade-off. So that's what I'm doing to adjust for a longer financial independence timeline. So that's where I am in my financial independence journey. And I think to myself, am I really failing? And I'm like, yeah, in certain extents, absolutely. That I am failing in the race to save up money fastest. Failing at that. As a family, we're failing at that race. And then I think, how am I doing in overall quality of life? And I feel like as a family, on a scale out of 10, I would say we're like 9.5. And enjoying our life and quality of life. And ultimately, at least for us personally, I feel like that's the most important thing. Failing at financial independence, but winning at enjoying everyday life. And I think ultimately that's the place that I want to be in. So overall, I am happy with the trajectory that we're on as a family. Do I wish some things could be different? Absolutely. And am I working toward improving some of those things? For sure. But for right now, I am confident and content with where we are as a family. So that's what I got for you on my financial independence journey. I'd love to hear about your journey, if that's even something that you think about at all. Or if not, how do you enjoy your life on a daily basis? Because ultimately, all we have is today. All we have is this day, and this day is the greatest gift. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll keep watching.